Now we hear from him in his own words of what he says. He doesn't remember. He doesn't realize. How do they know that he did it? How do you know it was me? What proof do you have that it was me? And this is what was said to him.
It just didn't seem real. I'm not sure that even until I got to the police station that I was 100% convinced that Yarm was dead.
Obviously, you think I did it. I don't know what makes you think that. Because I had a neighbor staring at you watching you do it. That's why.
Authorities say Scott Falater stabbed his wife over and over and then held her head underwater.
Do you love your wife?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Loved her a great deal.
The trial was a sensation, not because of the crime itself, but because of Scott Falater's defense.
Not to sound flippant, but I kind of smirked. I'm like, are you kidding me? Sleepwalking?
An Arizona man set out to convince a jury that he stabbed his wife 44 times while sleepwalking and doesn't remember a thing.
44 times and doesn't remember? 44 times. Every action, every stroke, everything. And then goes in the house, puts gloves on, comes out, drags her to the pool, and hold her under while the neighbor is watching from behind the fence. What makes you think I did it? There was a witness? There was a witness. Now, the thing about this is that this happened in Arizona, and we all know of another high-profile case that happened at Arizona. And the same prosecutor from that case is the same prosecutor that was on this case, and that was Juan Martinez, who absolutely destroyed Jodi Arias, absolutely destroyed her, and did the same with this person. So he, of course, asked the questions. How do you do all this stuff? What rationale are you putting behind this? And no, there was really no clear motive, and I think that's what I'm confused about, because this happened when I was still a little child. But they really couldn't pinpoint one specific motive, which there really was no specific motives. All there was a bunch of little motives. Of course, again, those are the ones that I had read off were, you know, maybe he wanted more kids if she did it. Maybe they were in a financial bind and he needed money. It just didn't make sense to me that, that yes, this is what happened. But, this is something that nobody thinks about. But I just wanted to play this last little bit of this video because it's
He stabbed his wife. He returned to Yarmila's body and dragged her over to the pool, held her under. A second act of violence.
The only way that sleep specialists think that violence can happen with a sleepwalker is that somebody confronts them, physically confronts them, gets in their way. That's clearly impossible on the second episode of violence.
He's got the weapon. He's got an eyewitness. There's just one thing he hasn't got, a motive. And suddenly, it seems to appear a phrase Scott later used, unforgivable sin.
Whatever this unforgivable sin is, he can't wait to be rid of her.
And that, my friends, is what he did. Got rid of his wife and the thing. Now, I know that they had been married over 20 years at the time of the killing. If I remember correctly, they had two small children. Um, they had two small children, a boy and a girl. And at the time of this, I think the girl, if I'm not mistaken, was 7 or 8, and the brother was 12. Or she could have been older. I'm not completely sure. But what I do know is that they both testified in his defense. They both testified. They both said that they didn't hear anything, they didn't see anything, nothing happened. And so I'm just don't know how that could be. We don't know if that's what the he told the kids to say, but nobody knows. And even till this day, 20 plus years later, he still claims he has no recollection of the murder. So here's another article on this that is a little bit more detailed and more descriptive. Who is the sleepwalker killer? Well, let's find out, shall we? Yeah, see, 22 years later, he still says he doesn't remember committing the crime. He thinks about what she had to go through that night and the pain and terror she had to feel. He can't even fathom, but he believes she would be willing to be more understanding and forgiving of him than about himself. Okay. Um, wow. Wow. I'm just flabbergasted. Because why would you think your wife would be so understanding that you took her life? So when the cops arrived, they found him in his pajamas at the top of the stairs, appearing to have no memory of what happened. So after he did all that and noticed that the witness was there, that's when he goes hide all his stuff, goes upstairs, rechanges his clothes, which a sleepwalker is not going to do, because if you don't have a conscious memory, you don't know what, you would have no reason to change your clothing. You're not conscious, so you're not realizing what you're doing. So you're not thinking that you're doing anything wrong. So therefore, you're not going to need to change your clothes or do anything. So when he gets to the top of the stairs, or when he gets inside, he's changing his clothes. So when the police come, he's, what happened? Tell me what happened. What's going on? What happened? My wife is dead now. And all of a sudden, he has a fuzzy, clouded memory. A fuzzy, clouded memory. So, yeah. But at the end of the day, he was convicted, sentenced to life in prison. He's still denying everything. He's still saying he doesn't remember. He knows he does it. He knows he did it, but he had no motive. He loved her very much. The jury got it wrong. Nothing happened. He didn't kill her, like in the way that they're portraying it to be. He's not a monster. And yet he's serving time when he shouldn't. But somebody has to serve the time. You stab somebody, 44 times and tried to drown him. Somebody has to pay for it. Somebody does. So at the end of the day, justice was served for her family. I'm so sorry for his kids that his kids lost both parents that day. And, we just got to move on forward and live life to the fullest and do our best to thrive. That's end. Deuces. Thank you for watching.